The first federal election leaders debate is tonight. All leaders are no doubt hoping to throw some political punches. For a look back at some of the most iconic moments in past Canadian debates, we are joined in Ottawa by the now very busy host of CTV's Power Play, Don Martin. I think every time I look at the channel, you're up there, working morning, noon, and night. So we're glad you could come on this morning.
This is August. What the heck are we doing, Beverly?
I know, and your show's back on the air. Let me get right to it. You can't discuss Canadian political debates without this moment. I'll get your thoughts on the other side.
You, sir, owe the Canadian people a deep apology for having indulged in that kind of practice with those kinds of appointments.
Well, I've told you and told the Canadian people, Mr. Mulroney, that I had no option.
Well,
Truman, your next question.
You had an option, sir. You could have said, I am not going to do it. This is wrong for Canada, and I am not going to ask Canadians to pay the price. You had an option, sir, to say no, and you chose to say yes to the old attitudes and the old stories of the Liberal Party. That, sir, if I may say respectfully, that is not good enough for Canadians.
I had no option if I was able.
That is an avowal of failure. That is a confession of non-leadership, and this country needs leadership. You had an option, sir. You could have done better.
Yeah, you had an option, sir. It kind of goes back in the annals of history of Canadian politics. Why was that moment so iconic?
I think because it didn't look scripted. Like John Turner, I had no option, sir. Well, Brian Mulroney just laced into him with what looked like genuine outrage and emotion, beautifully articulating what he found as the problem there. And Turner's fact that he looked like he was punch drunk halfway through the response, I think that probably made it the most iconic moment of any debate we've had since 1968 when these started, Beverly, because it looked, I'm sure Brian Mulroney was ready for that particular topic, but it looked like he was reacting spontaneously, and Turner looked like he was imploding spontaneously. So that's what made it so magical.
Yeah, picking up on his own language. Okay, so fast forward 4 years, 1988, we've got John Turner, and he takes a stab at Brian Mulroney. Let's take a look at this.
We built a country, east and west and north. We built it on an infrastructure that deliberately resisted the continental pressure of the United States. For 120 years, we've done it. With one signature of a pen, you've reversed that, thrown us into the north-south influence of the United States, and will reduce us, I'm sure, to a colony of the United States, because when the economic levers go, the political independence is sure to follow.
Mr. Turner, with a document that's cancelable on 6 months.
Yeah, so, and in that moment, he's essentially, you just sold the country to the United States. Tell me about why that was a knockout punch.
Well, it refortified John Turner. He was knocked back on his heels. There was actually talk around then about replacing him in the middle of a campaign as the leader of the Liberal Party. Unheard of. But that revived the campaign, sort of moved it from a traditional election into a free trade referendum in every aspect of the word. So it was his finest moment of a very bad campaign. It did bring him back from the political grave. I don't think it had quite the punch of the Mulroney patronage attack on him 4 years earlier. Turner looked like he had that scripted in his head. He kept looking down, and people probably sensed that this was a bit of a rehearsed moment. But I'm telling you, it still helped him dramatically, and Brian Mulroney did look a little gobsmacked, but in the end, Mulroney wins another mandate, and Turner becomes a footnote in Canadian history, so it wasn't quite as a happy ending as the Mulroney one was 4 years earlier.
The year 2000, Stockwell Day, and healthcare.
I have said consistently, and our policy is very clear, and I'll say it again, and the whole country has seen our briefing notes, you may as well look at them too, no two-tier health care. Now, I've said that very clearly. Our members have said that very clearly. It is a clear position, no two-tiered health care. And yet you, sir, have taken out an ad saying that we are not telling the truth. So I want to ask you, and would you do one of two things? Either right now, sir, would you call me a liar, please, or would you pull those ads that are wrong?
Maybe
would you do one of the two things?
And, the sign certainly had an impact.
Yeah, but it was so against the rules, but that doesn't matter. Rules are made to be broken on these things, Beverly. But it was kind of hokey. I was tipped off by by Stockwell Day's people before the debate even started that he's going to pull something out. Wait till you see this. So it was a premeditated stunt, if you will. Many people probably saw it for precisely that. Didn't help Stockwell Day very much. People still believed he believed in two-tiered health care, and he went on to defeat in the election, and it became sort of a shrug by Prime Minister Chrétien at the time.
Yeah, and 4 short years ago, Jack Layton, Michael Ignatieff.
I have to pick up on something Mr. Ignatieff said. He said before you have to walk the walk and you have to be a strong leader and respect Parliament. I've got to ask you then, why do you have the worst attendance record in the House of Commons of any member of Parliament? If you want to be Prime Minister, you better learn how to be a member of Parliament first. You know, most Canadians, if they don't show up for work, they don't get a promotion.
Mr. Layton, I don't
And on that, people responded quickly.
Yeah, they could understand that. We're paying you to show up for work, and you're not showing up. I kind of hope this question is asked again tonight, Beverly, because there's some pretty pathetic attendance by both the Conservative leader and the Liberal leader, so the NDP has an opening there. The other thing interesting about that, Michael Ignatieff did not see that coming. I'm sure that wasn't in his briefing binder on how to respond to lousy attendance. It shows on his face. He kind of gulped. There was lots of possible answers, but he didn't come, I'm out to meet the people, the real people don't work here in the House of Commons, yada, yada, yada. He did not. And the result was Jack Layton scored a big body blow.
Yeah, and we know how that federal election turned out. Just very quickly, Don, before I let you go, things that you'll be looking for. We know and we've heard, the economy is going to be a significant part of the debate. What else are you thinking is going to come up?
Well, Justin Trudeau's got to prove he's got the chops to be in this debate with the other two. He's not the most greatest oratorical fire unleasher. He's certainly got to show he's worthy of standing with this crowd. But so he's coming with very low expectations. Shouldn't be too hard to beat them, frankly. Tom Mulcair, on the other hand, has got high expectations. He's got to deliver a very strong performance. And Stephen Harper's just got to survive the onslaught in order to look like he won.
Don, happy August.
You bet. Thanks, Beverly. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on the show. And for more analysis on what to expect from tonight's debate, you can watch Don Martin on CTV's Power Play at 5 p.m. Eastern.